People have told me this has saved their marriage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elissa Corrigan.
Founder of Elle Sera, the golden pill.
It's been hailed the Viagra for women. So what is the golden pill?
So the golden pill is a female hormonal balancing supplement for women. In clinical studies, 90% of supplements don't work. So that's why I started researching it a lot. And I thought, how can I support my ladies going through the menopause? We all want to feel like 25 again and libido's high. You want to feel aroused.
Does the golden pill help with those symptoms?
It can be absolutely life-changing. People come up and say, I have never had stronger orgasms. And yes, we've been hailed as the female Viagra for two reasons, really. It really increases their sex drive. And also the biggest thing is
oh my God. So if you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe now. We want to grow our community to be as big and as amazing as possible. And I need your help with that. So thank you. Hi, I'm Abbey Clancy and welcome to Exhibit A. Today's guest is Elissa Corrigan. She's the CEO and founder of Elle Sera, the golden pill. So welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. Honestly, I was so delighted that you asked me to be on because I was looking at some of your past guests. I was like, fucking way. Like, does she want me to go on that?
Well,
so thank you.
I had to get you on because honestly, everywhere I go, everyone is talking about the golden pill. So I wanted to get you on Exhibit A and tell everybody what it is and what it does. You know, it's been hailed the Viagra for women. So, you know, what
is it and what does it do? Okay, so in a nutshell, so Elle Sera, the golden pill. So the golden pill is a female hormonal balancing supplement for women. And yes, we've been hailed as the female Viagra for two reasons, really. That's because of the formula that I put in there. So it was, the whole idea was sparked from one customer that I had who said, Elissa, what can I do for libido? And I was like, wow, this would be the last woman on earth I would have thought would have asked me about her libido because she just didn't strike me as that kind of person. I was like, okay, you can do this, this, and this. And ultimately, the kind of formula I gave her ended up being a little kind of version of what is Elle Sera today. And the main two ingredients I put in there to raise libido are maca, which is really well known for boosting both male and female libido. And another ingredient, which is traditionally given to men with erectile dysfunction, but when you give it to women, it really increases their sex drive. And that's called tribulus.
Okay.
And when I even rang the manufacturer to say, I want to bring this like supplement to life and these are the ingredients, he's like, is this a men's like health stacker? I was like, no, this is going to be for women. And he was like, wow, we've never put tribulus in a woman's product before. And I was like, I know, but I found lots of clinical data on it that they've given it to women who had sexual dysfunction. So they weren't just low.
By sexual dysfunction, what do you mean? Like,
okay, so you've got like low libido.
Yes.
Which everybody gets a low libido. Or even at parts in the month, you'll have a low libido. So you've got to be the most up for it 2 weeks before your period, because that is when your fertility spikes.
Yeah.
So if you track your cycle, you will notice that and you know what, subconsciously, you will be a little bit flirtier. You will be probably dressing a little bit different. You might put a little bit more effort in or a bit more makeup and you won't really know why. But this is if you're not on the pill, by the way, because the pill can really mask all that. So if you track your cycle, you'll notice you are most fertile 2 weeks before your period. That's when you ovulate. That's when your testosterone is at the highest. Testosterone governs your libido. And that is what ramps up your sex drive.
I've been constantly tired.
Yeah.
You know, just feeling a bit crappy. And when I got my bloods done, I had very, very low testosterone. So when everyone was talking about this golden pill, I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
I need to get a spring back in my step. And I've been on it ever since. And, you know, I think for me, it's important to have people on who I believe in. I want to share their stories I think are incredible. And I genuinely believe this product works. You know, so...
Well, you are a testament to it. You are a customer.
I'm a guinea pig.
Yeah. I was at Ascot last week and there was a lady who came over to me. She was like, Elissa, you're the golden pill girl, aren't you? I was like, yes, I am. She was like, can I just say I have never had stronger orgasms? And I was like, oh, Oh, you don't know how happy I am to hear that.
That must be so surreal. People coming up to you in the street saying, thank you for my orgasms.
I know. I always say that on my tombstone, it's going to read, she gave a lot of people a lot of pleasure.
I love that. So how did this all come up? Are you like, have you got a medical background or was this?
No, none of that, right? So I've always been interested in health and wellness.
Yeah.
So my background is journalism.
Okay.
Very young, I was in my 20s. I was doing a bit of like tabloid journalism. Then I kind of went into like writing books for celebrities. So I was a ghostwriter and did that. But all through everything that I was doing, I was always very interested in health and wellness. And I used to write a lot of pieces for magazines and newspapers about health and wellness. I used to go on a lot of boot camps and retreats. I got luckily enough to get invited to them and review them. And I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly side of retreats. I mean, do you remember when TOWIE first came out and they would always film them like going to these extreme boot camps where it'd be like Marines in a field telling them how to do 1,000 burpees in a week and you stand on the scale at the end of the week and you've lost 8 pounds. It's absolutely not the way to lose weight. And I used to see a lot of women going there who like 40s, 50s who were like, I want to lose weight, tone up. But what they were doing was starving them and overtraining them. Teaches them nothing. You're working out for 9 hours a day.
And it's not sustainable.
Absolutely not.
That's okay to do in a 3-day camp, but to apply that to everyday life when you get is just.
And these women were feeling exhausted and shit. Like, this is a guy who's an ex-Marine who knows nothing about health and nutrition and is making you do burpees in a field. He's literally, that's what he's doing. What they were failing to take into account was like, these women, their joints were hurting. Why is that? They're going through the menopause, like their energy's dropped, like they're stressed out, the cortisol levels are going through the roof. I was like, you are not focusing on what's actually happening to these women here at all. And you're not supporting them in any way. So that really like annoyed me. So I set up my own health retreat. It was called the Life Lab Retreat. And it was wonderful, but we focused on women's hormonal health primarily. And we did as much kind of education in a classroom as we did working out and doing exercise. But we taught a lot of swimming, Pilates, yoga, stretching, movement, things like that would really support women going through this stage of life. And there I met a wealth of women who were like my target audience, really. Yeah. This was well before this was even a seed of an idea. I was just like, I didn't really understand the impact of menopause back then as much as I do now.
I don't think people do. As a woman, you're automatically expected to know women things, female things, periods, giving birth, pregnancy, menopause. And I don't, we all talk about educating men. We actually need to educate ourselves because I don't know a lot about it.
You're not wrong. Like, how many symptoms could you name of the menopause?
I know, but you just put it down to, I've got 4 kids. Yeah. I've got a full-time job. I'm exhausted. Yeah. Friends of mine, their marriage has completely broken down when she went through menopause. No sex drive, exhausted, mood swings, feeling crap, hair loss. Yeah. Can't sleep.
There's 48 different symptoms. And these are like physical, mental, emotional, And these women, maybe let's say the career women, they're getting to the peak of their career. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, then everything's dropping, and they've got brain fog. They can't remember, they sat in a meeting, a really high pressure meeting, they can't remember what they're about to say. Yeah. It's scary. They get driving anxiety. So now they feel like they don't want to go out anymore. They're tired, they can't sleep. There needs to be more signposting to it. And this was something, like I said, I saw it firsthand on the retreat. COVID hits, couldn't do retreats anymore. And I remember sat there thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Refunding all my customers, thinking, what am I going to do? I've literally got no income. And then it was this one message off this lady called Debbie, who said, what can I do for my libido, Elissa? And I said, this is and this.
So you were just a bit of a go-to to all these women, because of all the research you've done and your passion and interest in this, knew.
Exactly. And some of the people that I worked with who were real great experts in the field. And I will always say, if I don't know the answer to this, I will go and find somebody who does. Yeah. Especially I'm good at researching and I'm good at making calls. I think that's my background in journalism. Mm-hmm. Even if there's something I need to know, I'll ring up a press office and go, hi, can you tell me the answer to this? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of doing that. And I think that's that journalism training that taught me that. To get to the answer. So So I became like the go-to for supplements. And if I couldn't answer the question, I'd ask an expert who could. And that I thought, wow, well, she's asking me about this, about libido. Maybe it's a bigger issue than I even thought about. So I started looking at Google data. How many times was this getting Googled? How many times was sexless marriages getting Googled?
Yeah.
This was getting Googled more times than like how to save a marriage. Like the stats were like this. And I was like, wow. And there's nothing really out there that's targeting this for women. Yeah. And actually, feeling that closeness and bond, we all want to feel like 25 again and like libido's high. You know what I mean? And
definitely.
And sexy and confident and not having like pain during sex, or you want to feel aroused or whatever desire. And I thought, well, what can be done here? Is there anything that can be done? So that's why I started researching it a lot. And I thought, how can I support my ladies at home while we're during COVID? And that was really what set the wheels in motion to what the golden pill is and how it came about, really. So I got a £50,000 bounce back loan.
What's a bounce back loan?
So the government gave out bounce back loans to businesses that needed to get through COVID.
Yeah.
And I was one of those businesses. So I was like, okay, so I got £50,000. And I'm not joking. Back then, that £50,000 was like the biggest thing I'd ever like thought of. Like, it was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And, I literally spent all of it. And I personally guaranteed this loan as well. If it didn't work out, I would have had to pay this back myself.
Oh my God.
So it's pressure. So I spoke to like great herbal biologists, nutritionists. I found a great manufacturer, UK manufacturer. And that's important because there's lots of supplements that get made in China, India, and then they get sent back over. They get packed in the UK. So then they say made in the UK. That's not true. Okay. They are made elsewhere. And their kind of laws are just not as strict as they are in the UK. So that was really important to me to get an outstanding manufacturer.
Because it's hard because there's so many contradictions when it comes to supplements. Like you go to your doctor saying I'm feeling tired and low sex drive. They instantly go, do you want to go on to antidepressants and stuff like that? And, I don't think hormones are taken into consideration. But when you speak to doctors about supplements, they just say they don't work.
Well, I would say 90% of them do not work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I mean, there's some unbelievably marketed products. I won't name them, but that have got 79 ingredients. Let's say a greens drink that's got 79 ingredients. Nothing in that is going to work because it's such a micro dose of all of it. Yeah. It is a really expensive weed. That's all you have in. It's great marketing. It's not going to kill you. It's absolutely not going to do anything for you either. It's pointless. And then you've got like other supplements that, again, if it's buy one, get one free, what do you think is going in there? Especially if you actually really look at the label. So they're a bit sneaky as well. So you've got like some companies that will list the active ingredients on the back. Then if you turn it upside down, it's got the full ingredients list. Usually the first ingredient will be an anti-caking agent. So that's nothing that you need. The second one will be magnesium stearate. Again, it's a mixer, it's a filler, it's not an active ingredient. And actually when you get to the active ingredients, they are the most unbioavailable forms of whatever that is. And it's such a low dose. Again, it's not going to do anything. And you want to always, again, you can get like loads of different supplements. You can get like powders, tablets. I always say stay away from tablets because, again, they're made with like hard coatings and they are made with like fillers and binders and they're just no good for you. You don't want to have them. That's why I use capsules because that is just, imagine like all the active ingredients all put in a pot together, like mixed up, and then it's just encased in a capsule. Yeah. And the capsule is vegan. It's made of wood pulp, actually. It just disintegrates in your body. So yeah, that's important to me. So the efficacy is there and also therapeutic dose. We use a therapeutic dose
of
our ingredients. So in clinical studies and in other supplements, they might say, well, we use vitamin C. Okay, great. But at what dosage? They might put a tiny amount of it in when you actually need like this much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're putting not enough of it in. So they can make the claim that it's, really good for immunity or whatever, but it's so low dosed, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So you need the dosage that's actually going to work. So let's say magnesium, for example, you probably need, I would say 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium a day. Most adults are deficient in it just because the soils haven't got magnesium in it at all. I was actually watching Clarkson's Farm and he was getting his soil tested, and on it, his magnesium level in his soil was like virtually not there. And I was like, that is blanket across like all of the UK. And that's why I always say you should be taking a magnesium supplement.
So what does magnesium do and where can we get it?
Okay, so we're actually bringing out a magnesium supplement because I recommend it so many times. And I'll tell you the reason I haven't done it before in a minute. But basically magnesium is involved in so many processes in your body. Okay. Like I would say north of 300 minimum, probably nearer 1,000 processes. And most people are deficient in it because it's just not there in the food chain. So there's loads of different forms of it. It can really help you sleep. Most people take it in the evening because it really can help you sleep. My favorite is bisglycinate. That is the most bioavailable form of magnesium. And that's the one we're bringing out as well.
Where did the name come from?
Good question, actually. So it means she will be in French because I love French women. And the reason I love French women is because they know how to age gracefully. And I really believe in pro-age and pro-women, pro-age. Like we're not anti-age, anything. We like to show real women being fabulous. And the French really do that. And they really celebrate older women. You'll see older women in their like high-end fashion campaigns. They love old buildings, old art, everything. So I wanted it to be French and like steeped in that like French Parisian like sexiness. Plus French women are super sexy.
Yeah.
So
and confident.
Yeah. And I also never wanted to sell this like a health supplement because if you've ever looked at like, let's say hormonal balancing supplements across the board, or you walk into Holland & Barrett, what do you see? Plastic green bottles with a purple flower on across the board, in whatever version of that. I was like, oh God, how uninspiring and forgetful is that?
Yeah.
So I take all my cues from like French perfumes. So because I'm like, this is luxury, this is something special, this is something, if women are going to spend £300 on a perfume for themselves, which is actually doing nothing, just toxic water that everybody's just smelling for a couple of minutes, actually, would they bring that kind of mentality into their healthcare?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I think they would if it was presented to them in the correct way. And that's why I never look at what people are doing in the health supplement space. Crack on, you do what you want. If you want to show people going to the gym and yoga, great for you. Me, I don't want to see that. The way I market it and brand it for my ladies it's a
lifestyle.
Absolutely. These are women who are not invisible. You are here, you are relevant, you are at a stage in life where you should be feeling liberation, not limitation.
Yeah, because I think naturally people think, oh, you lose your sex drive as you get older.
Yeah.
It's only the young ones who are having sex all the time and feeling good about themselves and feeling sexy and hot. But that shouldn't be the case.
No,
should it really?
Absolutely not. And
just as we age, we should
you still have that desire and still want that closeness with your partner.
Of course.
And still want to keep that part of your relationship alive. Absolutely. Why not? And if you read through our trust pilots, it's incredible what women say. And our inbox is just amazing, to be honest. There was one lady a few weeks ago who said, honestly, I've been taking your pill for about 3 months now. I'm feeling amazing. To the point where her and her husband were going to go out role play into a restaurant. They were going to pretend to be other people. And she was like, this is how much my sex drive has improved. I've got all my... And I couldn't believe this email that she was telling us. And I was like, you know what? You can say whatever about loads of companies, but let me just tell you, our customers are like our friends.
Yeah.
We really know them. We really get to know them.
Well, you speak to them all.
Yeah.
You've got a real strong sense of community with your brand. Why is that important to you?
It's so important to have that emotional connection with your customer. I mean, I must speak to like, let's say 10 customers a day. Maybe 2 of them I'll say, this is not the right time for you to have this product. I'm really honest about it and I like that integrity. Because I don't want to hoodwink anyone. Women have only got so much disposable income. They have, the pregnancy pay gap. They have the pay gap. they have the, menopausal pay gap. We have a lot less disposable income. I do not want anybody to feel fleeced or, like this is not right for them. I'm not just there to take the money, because when you're with us, I want you to stay with us. And that's why we've got such great lifetime value with our customers, because we really respect them. And we want them to feel like, no, we're all part of like one great girl gang or community or something.
So who should be taking Elle Sera?
Our main cohort of women are 35 plus. So anyone who's kind of feeling they need a bit more energy. I mean, we do have literally women from 18 to 88 who are taking it, by the way, for loads of different reasons. Like we have the younger girls take it for anxiety and PMS, or PMDD is a big one on the rise. PCOS is big.
Yeah.
And the ingredients are so good for PCOS. So we have lots of younger ladies who take it for that. But we usually see it's like when things start dropping, you said it yourself, I'm just not feeling myself.
Yeah.
And you can blame it on like the kids' lifestyle, the mental load. You're so busy. You've got 4 children. You've got to be here, there and everywhere. You're filming this, filming that, filming the other. It's like mentally.
Yeah, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
I look at my diary, there's a million things and I'm so organized and get everything wrong.
Yeah,
and
same.
it's just not going in. And it's like, when is the right time to take action and do something? So as I say, I've been on this for a couple of months now, and I've definitely noticed a difference. But I think for anyone out there who's kind of going through the motions and just think it's part of getting older, I'm busy, like what should they do?
Yeah. So again, I always say like supplements are the cherry on top. So you've got like the hormonal pyramid, I call it. So at the bottom, you've got to start with fundamentally a great diet.
Yeah.
This is not the time to be exacerbating any symptoms that you want. So you want to be thinking clearly. So you want to have, and as we get older, you're going to lose muscle tissue, you're going to lose bone density. So you actually really need to be looking at a higher protein diet as you start getting into your 30s, 40s. Anybody over the age of 35 must be weight training. You've got to be resistance training. Again, simply to retain the muscle that you have. It's so hard for women to build muscle. It's a fallacy that you're ever going to be bulky. You're not. Like I said, to keep that bone strong, they've got to have muscle there. So the muscle requires that bone to be strong. So if you've got stronger muscles, your bones will stay stronger longer. You also want to live a life full of vitality. You want, at 80, you want to still be like playing with the grandkids or picking them up or carrying your shopping or anything. You don't want like muscle wastage disease and, you fall over and break a hip.
Of course.
And then you're in a mess. If you're going into hospital, a lot of people don't come out at that stage. So you've got to be weight training at 35. I believe it's a non-negotiable. And other things you can do. So it starts with lifestyle and diet. You've got to have a great diet. And unfortunately, as we get older and we go through menopause and hormonal changes, you can't be getting drunk anymore.
What role does alcohol play? Is that like
it can really exacerbate like problems. So if you are having hot flushes already, it's going to really exacerbate that. It's going to be worse for your brain fog. I mean, your body just does not need it. It's poison. You just don't need it, and it doesn't really want it. While it might chill you out and you think it's putting you into a good sleep, like it's really robbing you of sleep. What it's doing is like literally just making you pass out, but you don't have a good quality of sleep when you're on alcohol. I mean, Matthew Walker like speaks about this all the time on his podcast about sleep. And sleep is so important now. Yeah. I mean, we now know like the absolute benefits of sleep.
But don't you think when you're young, sleep is the last thing on your mind?
Yeah, of course. You can totally just snap into it.
You feel like you can do anything and go out Thursday to Sunday and still get up Monday for work and feeling great.
Yeah.
But that just completely goes. As you can have one glass of wine and feel like crap for 3 days.
No, I'm completely with you. I'm just like, it affects me so badly now. And then the thought of like getting up and dealing with my daughter, even on the day I was in labour, I was like, send me your invoices, otherwise it's not getting paid. Because like, I'm not going to be. So I was like, send me your invoices. So I'm there like that. God. Paying all these invoices and just making sure everybody knew what they were doing. You know, do not message me. And in the end, I ended up being in like labour for like 48 hours. And it was like horrendous. Ended up with an emergency C-section in the end. So I actually after having my little girl, I mean, what a change that was. I mean, it totally, completely changed my outlook. Definitely shouldn't have been back in work as quickly as I was, because my brain was like mush. I shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? I was missing meetings. I was losing just like losing my head with stuff all the time. And looking back, I probably wasn't fair on myself.
Yeah.
You know, maternity leave is there for a reason. But sometimes you just don't have the option. You know, I used to take her in a little baby carrier and I would be packing orders literally as I'm packing.
I think you're running on adrenaline though when you've had a new baby. Like I've always done too much when I've had mine, and a few weeks later pay for it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and you get ill or something happens, because you have to listen to your body and rest. I think when you give birth, everyone's just so too quick to.
Yeah, it is difficult. And I just found that there was, I became more empathetic though.
Yeah.
Because now I really understood. I looked at the world completely differently. You know, I became much more compassionate.
Yeah.
Has it made me less aggressive in our growth in the business? Probably yes, because I'm a bit like, well, no, I only work 4 days now, because I at least want to have one day in the week where I can spend it with my daughter and take her out. We go for like little ladies' lunch, me and her. And that's important. To go back to our pyramid of like what women I think should be doing is, so lifestyle, exercise, nutrition, so hot on that. Then de-stressing as much as you can. You know, cortisol is going to ramp up when your hormones are going wild. In menopause and post-menopause, it goes so much higher. That is why women struggle with weight around the middle, because the cortisol is so high. One of the reasons I put Siberian ginseng in the formula is because it stops women's cortisol getting to that threshold. So it brings it back down. So I love Siberian ginseng. Absolutely love it as an ingredient. It can really chill you out without, it gives you energy, but it's not a stimulant.
Okay.
It's an amazing adaptogen. So de-stress, meditation. I used to be like thinking, I'm not doing any of that woo rubbish. But everybody I know who's like, you've got to meditate. And actually, I find it very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But I am trying. And it is.
I find it hard.
Yeah.
I really envy people who can get into that space.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny the benefit. You cannot deny the wealth of data and benefits to it.
But meditation, I personally believe, doesn't need to be sitting there like,
No.
A meditation can just be a period of time in the day that's just for you.
Yeah.
Do
you know
think?
what? Or just walking down the street and listening to what's going on. Like no phone, no AirPods in, we've lost the art of daydreaming because we never even just sit and look out the window.
I always daydream. That's on all my school reports. Either talking too much or sitting there like that.
Well, you talk too much, but we'll look at where it's got you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got you on some great podcasts. So,
I had no phone battery the other day.
Was it great?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I was out and I had to do like 6 hours without a phone.
Yeah.
And what you take in, I was driving my car, listening to the radio, thinking, and not just like constantly thinking, who's going to be on the phone? Who could have called?
Yeah, or looking at emails or just doom scrolling Instagram.
Yeah, I was just present for 6 hours and I really loved it.
No, I totally get that. I suppose you could call that mindfulness then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being mindful of you, just taking in your surroundings, which I virtually never do, ever. Even when I'm in a queue that's like got 2 people in it in Sainsbury's or something, I'm like on my phone. And I actually am conscious of it, so then I stop and put it away.
Yeah.
And start taking in what's going on. But so just being a bit more mindful. And then, you're at the top of the tree, you've got, how do we optimize your health? So again, you've got to have, hydrate yourself. Getting some vitamin D, some sunlight, being out in nature, things like that. And at the top, then you've got supplements. Mm-hmm. And like I said, 90% of supplements don't work. So you've got to do your research on who's a great brand, what's in it, why am I taking it?
Yeah.
And that's where I sit really. And if you kind of get all those things right, I think you can absolutely alleviate a lot of these symptoms. It does take a lot of work though. When we're in our 20s, we're just like, whatever, going out from Thursday to Sunday, to use your example. And we're just like invincible. But we've just got like loads of energy when we're younger, but it just doesn't happen like that when you get older.
So with the gold, for women who are struggling with the hormones and thinking about going on an HRT, would you use the golden pill instead of HRT or alongside it? Because there's so much talk about it now.
Yeah.
There's so many people who advocate for it. There's so many people who are against it, worried about getting cancer
Absolutely.
or any.
Yeah, it's an absolute minefield. And can I just say, medical disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, so take it, with however where you want to take it. So myself personally, I believe in a woman's right to choose. Do you want to take HRT or do you not want to take it? That's totally on you.
Yeah.
So we have women who take HRT and take the golden pill.
Mm-hmm.
We have ladies who take it instead of.
Yeah.
Totally personal preference. We have lots of ladies who try HRT, doesn't work for them, then they come to us. I actually spoke to a lady called Sam Simister this morning. She runs a company called Gen M. They do a lot of data and research around menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a report called the Invisibility Report. And they did a study in America where 96% of women in America don't want to take HRT. I was like, wow, that's huge. And even in the UK, 56% of women
why is that? Is that just because of the cancer-related illnesses? Or they think they're putting something artificial in the body?
Well, yeah, I think so. You've got, I spoke to...
if you look at like Davina McCall or Lisa Snowdon, they're just like...
They're like HRT.
Like, I wish to God I would have known about this sooner.
Yeah.
Because it's changed my life for the good.
I think there's some people who really get on well with it. It's hard to find what works for you and what doesn't. So I had an endocrinologist on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying, even if you've had breast cancer, you can still take it. So I was like, okay, great. But again, it's hard. There's so much different HRT. You've got like estrogen, you've got estrogen and progesterone.
Yeah.
You've got gels, sprays, tablets. So, and then getting the dosage right. So it can take a long time and it can take a while to, you might end up taking too much or too little, and you just don't know where you're at. A lot of women say it's making me worse, which obviously you don't want. So it's just trying to find the correct dosage for you, and that will take time and trial and error. You've also got to have a sympathetic GP. Now, we know that a lot of women, especially from other cultures, don't even like going to the doctors. So what do we do for them? Because while it might be great, like Davina and Lisa go on about HRT, what about the women who absolutely don't want to take it? They will not go to the doctor to even discuss this problem with them.
Yeah.
They're on the internet Googling. They need something. They need help too. And it's not a magic bullet. It's never going to fix nutritional deficiencies. It's never going to fix a stressful job or lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's never going to fix the fact that you need to go to the gym and do resistance training. You still need to have a real, you need to be hot on your lifestyle too. So while it can be absolutely life-changing, everybody thinks I'm against it. I'm like, no way, you do what is great for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be a real lifesaver for some women, and then some people absolutely hate it. And there's a lot of, I think it's about 62% of women who try it who then end up coming off it and then wean themselves off it. And from the ladies I speak to, they just say, I want to manage it naturally with, lifestyle intervention, with
in a more holistic approach.
Yeah, a more holistic approach. So, look at have you got any vitamin deficiencies? Because if you've got
but when you go to the doctors, they're not necessarily doing that.
They're not.
You get a blood test and it's basic. They don't go all in on hormones.
No. And the thing is, so if you get
they fluctuate. Like 1 month it could be this reading, next month it could be...
Oh, they fluctuate throughout the month as well, and the day. So it's the snapshot in time. You're absolutely right. So actually, we don't really diagnose menopause with blood tests. Yeah, you can have your bloods done and have a look at your hormonal profile. But unless you're doing it loads of different times, you're never really going to get a full picture. So they kind of diagnose it with symptoms. Are you having these symptoms? If if you're starting to, and most women, you get into 40s. Now I'm 39. I think you're 39. Yeah. So we're there. We're getting there, right? So
I think I've got loads of them.
About 42, 43 is when it's really, it's perimenopause. And then, then I think the average age for menopause is about 55.
Okay.
but perimenopause can start a lot earlier than that. The 10 years before it even. You'll start seeing decline in symptoms.
Does the golden pill help with those symptoms? The hot flushes, the stress, anxiety, obviously the low libido?
It absolutely does. Again, I never like to give it a hard sell, but I always say to people, why don't you go and read our Trustpilots? Because our women say it so much better than I ever could. Type in the word anxiety on our Trustpilot page and you will see loads of people come up. And they don't just say, this was great for anxiety. They will give you a full, I can't believe how much they write and pour their heart out on there. Like they will write a full back catalogue of their history, what were they feeling, then they started taking it. I was skeptical at first. I never thought this would work for me, blah, blah, blah. And, they really give a robust answer. And I'm like so grateful of these women. But yeah, so you've got things like the Siberian ginseng that's so good at leveling off that anxiety. And like I said, it stops your cortisol level getting so high to the point where you're like out of control. So it really relaxes you.
Does this help with weight loss at all? Because I know a lot of people going through the menopause, a lot of women going through the menopause do suffer with weight gain as well.
Well, again, your metabolism slows down. Again, if your cortisol level is high, that will bring up your insulin, and that's not what you want. That's why women are getting like weight around the middle. Again, so something like Siberian ginseng is great. And then it's got tribulus in it as well, which gives you more energy for the gym.
Yeah.
Then we've got in there ginkgo and beetroot. They are vasodilators. So what that means is it really opens up that blood, those blood vessels and capillaries. So it's allowing more oxygenated blood to get around your body. So if you are in the gym, you are absolutely going to, I notice it, I get about 30% extra out of myself. My PT will literally know if I've had it or if I haven't, just from how much I can lift and how much energy I've got that day. So it can really help, support weight management in that way as well. To if you are on a gym regime or you're doing a run or you're doing cardio, whatever, it can really get you to those deeper levels. I mean, I've got like 3 customers. I always give my personal number out to my customers because they become like my mates anyway. But they're like trying to lose weight and they check in with me all the time and they're sending me like pictures of themselves in a bikini and they're like, they're feeling fabulous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is. And I don't know many founders stroke CEOs of a business who would ever go to that level of customer service.
How are you going to maintain that though as a business as you grow? Because I know you've already sold over 3.6 million pills, which is incredible for such a kind of young business.
Yeah. I mean, people forget we are a really young, very lean startup. Again, this is still funded by my own pocket. We have no investors. We have no equity, no debt. We've got nothing. It's literally all comes out of my pocket. Wow. So I run a really lean operation, which is really good from profitability because again, we like to give back to our customer. But yeah, you're absolutely right. How do you give that level of customer service at scale? It's a good question. But that is the culture of the business. That's our number one value. So anybody coming into our business, if you are not on board, you're like, that is our culture. Like, this is how we go. We go to the nth degree for our customer. Are you on board with that? Because that's what I'm going to expect. You've got the job if you are. And you breathe that culture into your staff.
Talking about your hormones and you feel shit and your hair's falling out and you're putting weight on, it's not sexy.
No.
So for women to try and talk about these things when they're already feeling vulnerable, it's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And like, we want to feel like if you come to our inbox or email, you're not going to get an AI standard answer.
No.
We 100% write all our emails back and it's tailored to that woman.
Wow.
Sometimes I even go back and say, I just want to acknowledge your email. You've given me some great pointers here, but I really need to go in depth on this. And I also need to ask somebody these points before I reply to you. It's going to take me a couple of days. Can you give me some time? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, no problem.
Amazing.
And I just will then tailor an answer to them. But again, I don't know many people who would do that, but I believe that kind of like customer service and loyalty, because we haven't got big budgets, right? We haven't got marketing budgets. We can just throw into.
It's all word of mouth.
Absolutely.
Every listener will want to know, how long do we need to be taking this before we,
okay, so Bliss,
start feeling
Bliss
the
point
effects.
Is
Bliss point.
Bliss point.
I like that.
Yeah, it would be at least 90 days.
Okay.
So we looked at all the clinical data.
I definitely felt it sooner than that.
Yeah, you absolutely will feel loads of benefits before that. But all the clinical data that we looked at, and we used human clinical data to ascertain the dosages for the ingredients and the length of time this was going to work. So again, something like ginkgo, which is so good for your brain, it's really good at getting blood to the extremities. One of the reasons I put it in there was because, you've got the libido side of it, but you need to get blood down to nether regions. Brain fog is another symptom of like hormonal disruption.
I've got that, 100%.
Haven't we all? But I think it's just our lifestyles. You've got so much going on.
I know, but when do we stop blaming our life and actually take notice to these symptoms and go, right, I need to go to see a doctor. I need to get to the gym. I need to start taking supplements.
Well, I just think the modern woman has just got to deal with so many other things that the last generation didn't have to deal with, or grandma's generation definitely didn't have to deal with, Traditionally, the women were in the home and, ever since the woman came out of the home, what's happened? We've got an obesity crisis because now manufacturers are making our food and it's not from scratch with women in the home.
Oh my God, yeah.
And maybe, and like I said, I'm a career girl, I try to spin plates and do it all. I think now there's an actual big shift to women going, actually, no, we were sold a lie because now what is happening is I still have to go to work. And I still have to come home and be there for the baby and organise everything else. And it's such a body's party and it's such a body's this and it's blah, blah, blah. Have you got a card? Have you got this? Have you got that? The mental load that's on women, you've still got to do the ironing, the washing, the booking of the holiday. All that stuff is still on you. Yeah. And now you've still got a job as well. And now you're literally working to pay for childcare and nursery. And then the maddest thing is, that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking, I'm working like a dog. So I can pay another woman to look after my child when all I want to do is look after my child.
Yeah.
And there's a disconnect here, isn't there? But lifestyles have become so busy. People want more. They want 2 cars. They want a nice house. They want nice holidays. Yeah. So now they need 2 wages coming into the house. Mm-hmm. So I just think the modern woman's got a lot to deal with.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're not biologically set up for the amount of busyness that's going on in our heads.
And I get the guilt as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I think you're almost made to feel guilty for wanting a career and wanting to go to work. Because then, as you say, someone else is looking after your baby or your baby's in nursery.
Yeah.
But I think we can have it all.
Yeah, I think you can, but not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
So you need to pick, so you need to pick and choose. Because I, for 10 months, took Grace to work with me. And as soon as she was crawling and trying to walk, I was like, and she's literally, all our golden decanters are falling all over the floor. She's pulled them all down. I was like, right, it's time for you to get some childcare. Because I just couldn't even concentrate anymore.
No, you can't.
And I think it's Oprah who said, you can have it all, but you can't have it at the same time. And some of the best kind of career women I speak to, they were stay-at-home mums, in their 30s, 40s, and then they started businesses at 50.
Yeah.
Because the kids have flown the nest. And then they've got nothing really to do. And they are building these amazing, and I'm talking mega £1,000,000 businesses. Mm-hmm. But they did it at 50. And I think that's very inspirational as well.
It's so inspirational.
Because, people write off women over 50 because they become invisible. I actually think people become ignored. It's not just they feel invisible, but because they're ignored, that then leads to them feeling invisible.
Yeah. All this focus on building up women, supporting women who are going through the menopause, low libidos, lack of self-confidence. It's actually not a man-hating mission.
No, absolutely not. And we always hear from the husbands. We have a little thread in our inbox called the Husbands of Elle Sera. Yeah. And we literally had a guy who was like, I cannot thank you enough. I only live not far from you. Do you want me to come and lift some boxes in the office for you? Because I can't thank you enough for what you have done for me and my wife.
We do need to educate women on how they feel and to recognize these symptoms, to get help, to change their lifestyle.
We've definitely got to bring men into the conversation
100%.
Because, and our sons and everything into the conversation so they can be better partners to, their partners as they're going through it and their mums. Because the thing is, the mother of the household her mood affects everyone's mood. Okay, if your mood is off, then Pete's going to be like,
can you hear all the men in the office laughing?
Yeah. So it's really important that people understand it's just she's not herself right now. And the kids understand. And it's not that we need to throw it in their face, but just so they're a bit more aware of it. I remember going to a service station and on the back of the toilet door, it said, do you want to help your partner with ED? And this was in the female toilets. And I thought,
what's ED?
Erectile dysfunction.
Oh.
So I was thinking, I bet you there's no way that in the men's toilets, it doesn't say, do you want to help your wife with the menopause?
No.
There's no way, but I think maybe that should be there because I know I speak to, even my joiner was like asking me about, Elissa, your golden pill, can I get some for my wife? I was like, yeah, no problem. And I think once they understand and you bring them into the conversation a bit more, they do want to help. I mean, heartbreakingly, there's a story of a guy called David Salmon, and his wife was just not feeling herself. It was awful. And he was, he just didn't know how to support her. 2 weeks later, she ended up taking her own life. And then literally he was watching BBC News and he was watching a couple of ladies called Sam and Heather on there who were talking about the 48 symptoms of the menopause. He watched it and he called them and he said, I think my wife was going through the menopause and I just didn't know what to do. And had I known about this, she would still be here today. And that is why we need to bring our men into the conversation.
100%.
Support our ladies. We don't want them to leave the workforce. These are some of the most experienced staff you're ever going to get. Let's support them through it, And this is the reason why I hate this term menowashing, which basically means...
that?
So basically means that people are like, businesses are jumping on the back of menopause to make loads of money. And I'm like, well, great, because who wins when... If brands and businesses get on board with the menopause, they start creating more products to help women who are going through it. Things like moisture wicking pajamas, because night sweats is a really big issue. And then signpost them to it in store to help them. And there's more companies entering this market. Who wins? The consumer, because there's more choice.
Of course.
And I always go back to like pregnancy, right? So how many products are there for pregnancy?
Millions.
Exactly. So this is something that happens to you for 9 months. Not all women will go through it. Every woman will go through menopause. Every single woman. Where is her signposting?
Yeah.
Like I use always John Lewis as an example. So like the pregnancy section in John Lewis, like it's massive. They've got experts in store. They've got like these are range of prams. This one's got leather. This one's waterproof. This one's this. These are some different bottles. You can have this one, this one, this one, this one. I was like, wouldn't it be great if you had a section in store that was like menopause section and every single product in there was like, well, your skin's going to change when you go through menopause. So here's skincare ranges. And you have an expert in store who can walk you through it.
Yeah.
Lots of different products at different price points. And then you've got choice.
Yeah.
So I'm really big fan.
Yeah, because it's not a one size fits all menopause.
Absolutely not, no.
It's so different for everybody.
Exactly. So, and you're going to go through it for about 15 years.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So 9 months, and look at how much tech there is out there for pregnant women.
Yeah.
Like I know myself because, I've just been through it. But where is, we've been loyal to these brands all our lives,
Yeah.
Support us through one of the biggest changes that's going to happen to us because women are now, they're living past 80.
Yeah.
So you're spending half of your life post-menopausal. You're going to need support.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So as a woman in business, self-funded, for anyone listening who has got a great idea and wants to start their own business, where would they start?
Nail the marketing. Like nail your marketing. That is what everybody can have a great product. Everybody can have that. And if you do not know how to get it in the hands of your customer and be visible to your customer, that is the biggest challenge. We are a health and wellness company. We're actually not. We are a marketing company. The product is made. The product was made 3 years ago. It's not really changed. The formula hasn't changed. The way we market it has changed. And 365 days a year, every year, we have to come up with 365 days, new ways of speaking to our customers and bringing in that community. And that's difficult. And you've got to do it across every platform. You've got to do it on podcasts. You've got to do it on YouTube. You've got to do it on Meta, on Instagram, on TikTok, in communities like Mumsnet, traditional PR like Daily Mail or whatever. So basically you've got so much marketing and all these, but you can imagine them as like hungry dogs, all these beasts need feeding a lot to have a sustainable brand that's actually going to stand the test of time. So you've got to nail down your marketing and also the biggest thing that people forget to do is when they're costing their product, they think, okay, that's how much my product costs. There's my overheads. That's what I'm going to sell it for. There's a little bit of profit in there. you haven't even put your marketing budget in there.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, I'm not even profitable on first purchase. You've got to buy it like a couple of times for me to even be profitable. That's how much like marketing costs. And that's what people fail to understand. So they think when they start a business, they can just, buy product, do a website, sort out the postage and the packaging, and then they've got it. And I'm like, how are you getting into the hands of a customer? Because that's the biggest cost of the business. So that would be my absolute number one for any young entrepreneur. Show me your marketing plan.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you nail that, you've nailed it. Because I'm telling you now, I see some terrible products marketed amazingly. And I'm like, wow, they've got good marketing.
Thanks so much for coming on, Elissa. It's been such an insightful chat. And I think hopefully we can help so many of our listeners out there who are feeling a little bit crap and need a little boost. And,
honestly, I really appreciate you inviting me on because like I said, we're a small brand. It's so hard to get like your name out there and to have that real world like customer testimonial in yourself, like saying, all my friends take it. They told me it was bloody amazing.
No, they do. Literally everywhere I go, everyone's like, have you tried the golden pill?
Yeah.
I was in a restaurant in Portugal with my friends telling me about it. I bought it there and then, signed up and got it. And I wouldn't genuinely be sitting here building up a brand if I didn't think it worked. It's definitely helped me, my energy levels, everything else.
Yeah.
I just wanted to spread the word a bit more because there is so many women like suffering in silence who...
No, absolutely. And there are a few skeptics out there, but I'm like always, listen, try it yourself. Try it yourself. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And like I said, I don't like to give it the hard sell. There's wealth of reviews online that go into the minutiae of detail about their life.
Yeah.
Have a look what they're saying. They are completely independent people and try it for yourself.
I would love to know if any of our listeners are on this already or if they fancy trying it and letting me know how they get on with it. And I'll definitely share it with you because, that's what I'm trying to create with Exhibit A as well. It's that sense of community and people helping each other and being inspired by incredible people who are at the top of their game, whether it's from an idea or they've had a hard life. Like that's why I started this pod. So thank you for coming on.
No, honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. You've been the perfect host.
Oh, thank you, darling.